Thank you. Well, uh, good morning, everyone, and welcome. Good to see you all again. And first, I would like to thanks for everyone, and especially for the organizers. Really appreciate giving me this opportunity to share some thoughts, my uh, teachings of the Buddha Dharma, and be with you these 2 hours. We can have some meditations together. So I always really grateful the uh, Lama and so on, all the you know the members of the One Royal. So now I'm going to be starting first short rapid prayers. Then we're going to do this meditation together, right? Okay, so in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, we go for refuge until enlightened by the power of generosity and other good deeds. By the power of generosity and other perfections, may we realize Buddhahood for the sentient beings. Okay, so the Tibetan, please follow me. Sangye Chudan Tsoge Choma La Chan Chu Parada Dan Kya Su Chi Da Ge Jin So Ji Be So Nam Chi Do La Ben Je Sangye Do Sangye Chudan Tsoge Choma La Chan Chu Parada Dan Kya Su Chi Da Ye Jin So Ji Be So Nam Chi Do La Ben Je Sangye Do Okay, so now we're going to first meditations. Let me say a few words, remind ourselves, which is we're going to do half an hour. So please just sitting comfortable first, wherever you are. The most important is comfortable. Sitting on the chair, sitting on the cushions, wherever you are. If you have somebody have some challenge for, if you needed back support, then that's okay. Usually I always recommend to people, if you don't need it, then it's wonderful. If you don't need it, support from your back without the landing like this way, people always like, without the support, it sounds like it's very easy, but it's not that easy. It is very important for meditation. Those who need it, then please do it. Needed support for your back. So therefore, first the precious body. Always be aware about your body. During the meditation time, our precious body like a mountain, you know, sitting like a mountain. What that means, there's a lot of energy surrounded going on, surrounded the mountains, but mountain never ever moves at all, you know, just sitting like a mountain, just meditating our precious body like a mountain. So then the most important is the speech. The speech, the essence, meditation is just during this meditation or any time, silence, or without any sound, any talking, oneself, or no mantras, no recitation, just natural breathing in, breathing out. Just be aware about it, your energy of the breathing. So that is the essence of the meditation of the speech. Then third is the mind. Mind has to be meditation like a sky, like a space, free, boundless, pure. It is just meditating our own mind like a space and relaxing. During the meditation time, the most important time, always resting is the most important. Body resting, speech, the sound, the breathing, resting nature state, mind and heart resting nature state. Try to be aware as possible. Try to not follow the thought. But at the same time, do not chasing after the thoughts of the past, present, future, and so on. Just resting nature state. Just be aware everything as possible. Do not chasing the thought. Do not creating the thought. Do not judging the thoughts, good, bad. Just beware. Keep nature state. Breathe in, breathing out. Continue meditation. Okay, thank you. Uh, so before the taking our short break, I would like to say a few words about the meditations. Generally, when we speak about the meditation, the essence meditation is mind itself has to train. That's the essence part of the practice of meditation. But in order to training mind, but it is relying on our energy of the speech and energy of the body. So therefore, in order to actual train the mind, but it is very much beginning, most relying on the body energy is so much actually. So therefore, it is important to be more mindful first, the precious body. And at the same time, when we train mind, also needed be aware, the mindful with our body to how we breathe, how we sit, and so on. It's so much relying on in order to really understanding the subtle level of the mind. So therefore, sometimes we have to be really more awareness towards to the body. It's so important, whether we sit, whether we walk. Then the second one is the most important again. In order to train the mind, it's the speech energy. The speech energy is the silence. The essence of the silence is what? The breathing, the energy of the breathing. So it's so much subtle energy relying on the breathing. That breathing, when we recognize it very well, so it affects right away into the mind. You know, everything actually, whatever the mind is chasing out or in, thought rises, appearances, different things. Actually, the essence is the energy of the breathing. The subtle energy creates that one. So that we will have to be most of the time be awareness, the mindful with the breathing. You know, if we know how to very well, for example, when we have a strong thoughts, some conceptual kind of, which is really disturbance, distracts thought itself. As far as my knowledge, in order to cannot relax itself, in order to resting thought, recognizing thought, it's relying on the breathings. As soon as recognizing the breathing and how to breathe as a technically very gentle way and focus here, the thought is immediately dissolved. It doesn't really anymore disturb us, actually. So therefore, it is true. Sometimes we focus in the mind or how, whatever, but it is sometimes the begin. It's all the really rely on our precious body energies and the precious breathing the energy is so much relying on the mind in order to train the mind, train. So this all has to go back and forth, training to be aware about it, immediately jumping into the mind itself, which is quite a bit sometimes challenges there. There's a lot of challenges there. So rather than more, be awareness or mindful with the body, the mindful with the breathing, the feelings and so on, then mindful with the mind, then it becomes a very, very deeper understanding of the meditation. And not just that, it is also very skillful. I believe that. Much more skillful than anything. It gets deeper understanding, it gets more understanding of our precious body and the breathings and how connected with the relation of the mind itself, the emotions, like, all the emotions, how they're related with that. So that's what I like to share with you, so few words. So right now, take a short break, 10-15 minutes, so then we come back. Let me say a few words about the meditation, motivations. So then I'd like to hear from you as well, your thoughts. So thank you. Okay. Okay, welcome back. So I don't know what their weather. We have cold weather. It's unusual actually. It's supposed to have a warm weather. No, it's no longer. All the environments change. Okay. Oh, yeah. Lama jina, jinza lama jina, bade lama gujo wazo na waga jinzu jindu dama na balanda tu jina da jebe jasa. Kajen da da dama dami da jinja wangu wanju wangu jindu jinja jibu jinja no so wande so tu jizu chisinja na jimu dum nachi. Tata zo je tinje lendo de wazo je na wana jina da lama la na zi jinja jama waga zo yundu so wande bawa tundu so zinja. Jeje no zoge je masan je me jave to jimbi je hada de zabe da ni ka je je ro wa je da ro bo je no sim je je wa de so wan chuni je ma do sin je lo sem do ne je me nam dan de on de chu go do bra sin Katende la pemba marzo na sende dan java kalan jo da je jama da java la junje de de sabya jan purata chuje ja sun je mol galo de je to ga me do sum yore me de chora ne je to ba de do do ni ba de be to so je to da ba ro do le je ne ba de le bo sinde ta bo me je bo sinde ma da de me de da da do ye je ka ma da da so do se na na de lo da Resamba Jereja Nurjon Dro Dejan de Javun Rojana Muju Tata Nishi Jimena Jiva the Nagala Katoyan and the Tumaji Dojon. Chidom Korva Dunga de Samna Nima Tago Javan Doyan Dalamat Namibia Balalo Dich Sada Lamje and their Hakon Doje Change Kombanyo Tosho Sanjos Maja Manam Jeje Jabanya Baba Kone Konda Bewa Shon. Okay, so now our discussion about the topic is the motivation, the pure motivations. Of course, many of last time I taught this about the refuge, and this time I chose the subject is about the motivations. So, in the Buddha Dharma's point of view, as you know, the motivation is the most important practice. Whatever we practice, the actual practices, it's all that depend on the motivations. So, therefore, in the traditionally Buddha Dharma's teaching of the different tradition, Tibetan Buddhism and other traditions, you all notice the beginning prayers is refuge prayer, then prayer after that starts the motivation prayer. You know, when we recited this today's opening prayer, which is first two lines, it was talking about taking refuge, Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. And after two lines, it's talking about the motivations, you know, the pure motivations. Then how the important part is in order to benefit whatever we wanted to do, in order to benefit for sentient beings, everything is actually relying on the motivations, how we establish well or pure motivation beginning practices. Like in the refuge prayer, as we read, it says the practice of six perfections, right? Generosity, moral ethic, patience, perseverance, concentration, the meditation, the wisdoms. So that is as we all know, that is the essence practice of the Buddha Dharma. So in order to, whatever practices, it's the practice is successful for self, for others. It's relying on the motivations. So therefore, motivation is very important. So therefore, in the Buddha Dharma prayers, first refuge, then motivation prayers there, Then of course, the motivation it has many different types of motivations. The highest one, according to the Buddha Dharma's point of view, highest motivation is there's 2 points mentioned in this prayer, the short refuge prayer, very clear. The first point is the enlightenment. Whatever practice we do, including sitting, including study, meditations, and so on, generosities, ethics, but whatever practices we do, it is the highest goal, the motivation is the enlightenment, which is actually historically Buddha also during his lifetime, beginning and when he was as an ordinary person, like us, he took this promise or these motivations. I am going to be enlightened for the benefit for sentient beings. There's 2 things, it's really essence point of the Buddha Dharma. One is enlightenment. Enlightened is not just only one person, not only for him, Buddha himself or herself. Enlightened is for that is matters, very actually that, or for the sentient beings. That is the motivation, the highest motivation, which called bodhicitta, right? Bodhi is the enlightened, awakened, right? Chitta is the mind of enlightenment. In order to enlighten, benefit for the sentient being. Therefore, I have to have reached myself enlightenment for the benefit for the sentient beings. So that is the highest intention, the motivations. In the Buddha Dharma, it's also always required, it's important. And then depends on it's a beginning as a practice time. Let's talk about the practice time. It is very important, the word. Just saying the prayer word itself, again and again, then realizing that the word is becoming fully realizing the meaning of the word. So then realizing oneself, bodhicitta within oneself, enlightenment. So that is very important for my case, my personally, it's a word is really beginning very matters. Then later on, then the words are not necessary so much matters. Rather than a word, the meaning is much more important than just word. Of course, we all know that Buddha said, right? You know, do not rely on a word, rely on the meanings, right? Do not rely on the person, rely on the dharmas, the teachings. Those teachings are very, very profound meaning. So therefore, the motivation, it is very important. So therefore, in a Buddha Dharma, all the tradition, the common tradition in the Buddha Dharma, we recite first refuge prayer, then motivation prayer, which we do. We always do. And sometimes, in some cases, in a Mahayana traditions, certain Mahayana tradition, I don't know, some all do, not 100%, but some Mahayana tradition, they do prayer first, the motivation, then after that, refuge prayer. Well, that's a slightly different the way they do it, So it also make sense for me because I was a long time thinking about it, and I tried to do myself. It's also very best. The beginning I found it also. For me, personally, I found more. Why not motivation first establish and then do the refuge, taking refuge with the Dharma, So usually, as I mentioned, the most traditionally they do refuge first, then motivation the second one, And I found there's a motivation first, and then refuge after that prayer. So which is, of course, essence of the motivation is for the enlightenment, benefit for the whole sentient beings, to cultivating the bodhicitta, mind of enlightenment. So therefore, let me speaking a few more words as a practical, practice point of view. And when I do first cultivating motivation, let me speak in my own way. I try to do the most of the time, I would say. Sometimes I forgot to start, mindful is not so, stable enough. So sometimes I forgot totally, even though I say the prayer, but I don't really aware about my meanings too. But yeah. So what I do is the beginning opening prayers, when I started sitting meditation, all my recitation, the prayer or whatever, so I cultivating the bodhicitta mind, which is to first cultivating, thinking about that is not easy, but I do sometimes try, which we call the enemies, but the actual enemies not really exist outside. The first I thinking about enemy who distract me in my life, making me miserable, making me difficulty time, making me get upset and angers and so on. I try to cultivate that person first, thinking about him or herself, first I'll think, him or herself, I wish them be happy. Be happy means I'm cultivating love. I'm wishing him or herself free from all the sufferings, causes of sufferings, the condition of the suffering, so that I try to cultivate compassion. So then after that, I wishing him or herself to wish to reach enlightenment, Buddhahood, enlightenment. So then after that, thinking about first the destructive one, then the second one is which I close to myself, my parents, mothers, my relatives, so on. Then from there to be thinking about all the neighbors, then thinking about all living beings which I don't know who is who or who not, to thinking about them, wishing them, cultivating kind of love, compassion, and bodhicitta. So that is very important. It's easy to say, but it is sometimes I can glimpse of, I can generate, I can feel it, subtle level, at least a few minutes I can think. That makes me really differences, my all practices. Less distractions, less conceptual thoughts, whatever, during the actual practice, actual meditation time. It doesn't really bother us anymore. So therefore, this motivation to be, I think that's a way to practice one way, if somebody could do that and practice first our disturbing ones to think, wish them, cultivate them love, compassion, enlightenment, which is not so easy. If somebody could do it, it's a very wonderful practice that way, the mind. If not, then the great master says, you have to cultivate first your loved one, your close one. That is very important, isn't it? In our reality too. Sometimes we forget that, cultivating him or herself, our loved ones, our children, our sanghas, and so on, right? Wish them love, compassion, bodhicitta. That means including animals too. Some may love more than human beings love animals. That's possible to train that way, Then gradually the mind becomes stronger and stronger. Then from there to love one, then slowly our parents, the neighbors, then the end, the enemies, which is actually not exist, but sometimes we call enemy means like who doesn't like, who harming, so on, so, right? So then this can be the end, the last one to develop And that depends on the practitioner, individual, depends. Some may do first, some may do the last one, gradually. Then become a slowly kind of equanimity, right? There's the four immeasurable thoughts like joy, love, compassion, joy, equanimity. Very powerful prayer, powerful motivation. This fourth, it's called the four thoughts, right? Four measurable thoughts. First love, right? Then compassion, then joy, then equanimity. Usually, according to the teachings, like number-wise, that one. First, love, compassion, joy, equanimity, possible. But sometimes the practice time, it doesn't have to be that way. Practice time can be, some maybe like to do equanimity first. That's possible. That is also very powerful. If somebody could do the motivation for equanimity for equally for all sentient beings, want to be happy, do not want to be sufferers, and so on. So developing that kind of motivations, the intentions. Or maybe somebody can start from the love first. Normally love first, right? We do. And somebody maybe, I also notice myself as a sharing with you I notice myself more easy for me personally. Joy is much easy for me. I found my practice. The joy means appreciation. Joy is for others. Joy is for self. Like I have to be rejoice or be joyful, be appreciate my precious life. It makes me really relax, Or I can joyous for others, my friends and family who are success, who are healthy, who are everything's doing fine, very joyful. So therefore, I personally found that the appreciation, the grateful, which we call what the different words we use, but that's I found a very, how to say, effective for me, really. As long as I really appreciate, grateful, everything, whatever my life going on, good things, challenge things, I appreciate the grateful things, opportunity for practice. I think it makes me, everything is okay. Not so difficult. If I do not well done practice appreciation, the grateful, then I notice myself how much I have it. If I have all sentient beings' wealth, even myself, I won't be happy with that at all. If I have all sentient beings, the delicious food, if I have it, if I do not appreciate my food, or whatever it is, no, it doesn't work that way. Mentally, it doesn't work at all. So therefore, the practicing, the intention, the motivation, love, compassion, joy, equanimity. Then again, when you go more deeper, this is I'm talking about my own experience. When you go deeper practices, the equanimity is very powerful message of the Buddha. We call it equality, right? Equanimity, Dharma, equalities. It's very powerful. Soon as arises that kind of heart, equanimity, mind or heart, everything is fine, you know. Easy to send to love, compassion for everyone equally, they deserve it. So therefore, the practice time is different ways, you know. I think it takes important part is the meaning of the words are not so difficult. Of course, you all educate people so easy. The practice part is myself. It's also very difficult. Even though I try to do, as I mentioned earlier, I did it many times. Love, compassion, joy, equanimity that way. It was okay, but it wasn't too success easily. I did opposite the joy started because so it makes me a little bit much more. I felt more, how to say, generate my intentions much more stronger. You know, myself become a kind of more calm or peace, you know. So that's why I like to share with you. So also therefore it is known, the intention is in a spiritual path, speaking here, spiritual path, very important, no doubt. And the reality life also too. In the reality, everyday life, whatever we do, you know, it is so important. Even though our own relations and family relations, friends and husband, wife, and a partner, whatever we call, the intention is so important. Even though speaking my own experience, when I try to do sometimes highest yoga or vajrayana practice, then I realize what is my intention is here. I have to think about it. I have to go back there, you know, first before I doing this highest yoga tantra, which is wonderful, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But I have to kind of make sure, checking, realizing my motivation is right. That is, I found motivation. It's sharing with you is the most important. That's why they say the story of historically Milarepa, as many of you know, Milarepa, of course, Marpa Lotsawa, teacher of Milarepa, Marpa Lotsawa has many students, you know, of course, hundreds of students, wonderful realizing people, there's no doubt. One of the best benefit sentient beings was Milarepa. The reason they say the songs of Milarepa teaching, if I'm not wrong, they say Milarepa, the student asks these questions. How come you become a really powerful and very benefit from many ways to be real, you know? The Milarepa says, it's my motivation. I mean, everybody has right motivation. Depends on how they realize it, you know, realization or not, you know. We all do motivation, right? But then depends on the realization or not. Oh. So therefore, really motivation needed. It's myself, and we need it do again and again, cultivating our motivation strong again and again, not to rush to the actual practice. Well, actual practice is wonderful. There's nothing wrong with it. But before the actual practices, establish motivation first, very well. So likewise, we benefit sentient beings, either we do, or whatever what is our reality life do. So establish the motivation first, then benefiting. I think it's also makes kind of more strong, that's why I feel strong, how to say, personality. You have, even though sometimes difficulty you have to face when the actual action time, right? Actual action time, there's a lot. But you have this strong determination, strong motivations there. Doesn't matter, never ever going to give up. So that is my few thoughts sharing with you. Now I'm going to stop talking myself here. I like to your thoughts. Everybody has, of course, your own thoughts, or you have some questions we can, sharing. Okay, thank you.
So if you have a question or comment you would like to share, please use the reaction to raise your virtual hand and we'll invite you to unmute. Richard.
Good morning, Lama. Thank you for this teaching. I would be grateful if you would perhaps share a few comments on when you recommend that students and practitioners formally take the Bodhisattva vows.
Well, yes, according to the traditionally, before taking bodhisattva vows, must have taken the refuge vows is necessary, which is a kind of every philosopher or every traditional, according to Buddha Dharmas, the same. There's no how to say contradictory. There's no other questions about it. Everybody masters. This says you must have to take a refuge vows, or then taking after some times bodhicitta vows. Well, sometimes done refuge practice, and then taking bodhicitta vows. Then it builds more strong foundation on top of that bodhicitta vows, and it's much more effective. So I think so. Timing, any time is fine. It's nothing usually, Oh, so yeah. So that is I think so. My understanding of the vows are refuge vows, then bodhicitta, Then usually we do the top of that Vajrayana vows. That's usually, bodhicitta, I mean the refuge, and bodhicitta, which is usually the common or the oral tradition of the Buddha Dharma, right?
Peter?
Thank you, Lama, for the teaching today. I found it very difficult to do the meditation this morning. My mind was everywhere, all over the place. I couldn't settle at all. As soon as I tried, some thought would come, and it'd take me like a minute to find out, oh, you're following a thought, you're not meditating. And then I thought about when is my best meditation? And it seemed to me that my best meditations are like doing a Chenrezig practice. Maybe because, like you explained, there's so much in those two lines, refuge and bodhicitta, doing prayers for beings in the six realms of cyclic existence, particularly as a part of that, in the seven limb prayer, and sort of expanding on our bodhicitta and our motivation. It seemed to be really important for me. And doing some mantra maybe before meditation. I don't know if there's a question, maybe, is it possible, maybe just this is personal, is it possible to go right into meditation, or is it, for me personally, is it better just to do that practice, to set my motivation? Why can't I just sit down and start to be have my mind go, clear, that I need, the support, I guess, of a practice like that, like Chenrezig.
Well, there is absolute. We all know there's a different forms of meditation, right? Really. One form is common forms in the Buddha Dharma, like a very silence. Everything is a silence, right? That's one way. And which is common meditation, whether we do come abiding or the insight or vipassana meditation. That's how we do traditionally. And particularly when it comes to the Vajrayana practice, and then doesn't have to be silence. You can recite prayer, it's meditation. You can recite opening prayer, thinking about all the meanings, then reciting the mantras with the sound, without the sound, with the melody, without the melody. It is meditation. That is meditation. And so it's different forms. Sometimes maybe in the Vajrayana has more different forms of meditation, no sounds, reciting from the mind and heart, and reciting prayer, reciting mantra, And Vajrayana is what? Visualizing different forms. That's meditation too. Or no visualizing, that's also meditation. That's a different forms, right? Different stages, the different forms in the Vajrayana, teachings of the meditation, generation stage of meditation. It is very profound. There's many generation stage of meditation. And that comes to the completion stage of meditation in the Vajrayana. It's very profound, you know. All the prayer we do, it is form of meditation, you know. And some people, it depends on the individual. Some people need to do that. It is good for them. Some cases, people can't stand with the quiet, you know, without they're very silent. In some cases, in the beginning, meditators, and some people, it's quite with challenges, you know. Some people are easy for them. Just sit quiet, it's no problem, you know, and just relax, you know. And that's a different types of meditation, different forms of meditation, different techniques of meditation. It's all wonderful, actually. All are depends on how people, you know, we like to whatever it benefits oneself, you know, how it makes for oneself comfortable. I think that is supposed to. That's what I believe, you know. And some people have I noticed in my lifetime, you know, teaching. Sometimes people I notice quite a bit immediately quiet, sitting. It's quite a bit challenge. And many of I notice it's very easy for them, you know. So therefore, many techniques of meditation there. So it's always all are wonderful. All should try. It doesn't matter, you know. Or some people sitting quiet, it doesn't work. And why not just recite the mantra? Why not you recite? Or why not you walk? Just walk and then just do that, you know, breathings, you know, something like that. I think so. That's so then comes to the everything in one. One point, yeah, everything becoming. So I think so. That's my thoughts.
Jeremy?
Thank you very much, Lama Gursam, for the teaching. When you were giving your first thoughts, you mentioned the body, and then you went to speech. And when you spoke about speech, you spoke about silence. And I was very interested that that was the place you went to when you first mentioned speech. And I wondered if you could speak to me about a little bit, to tell us a little bit more about that part. Thank you.
When we say speech, there's many levels of speech, understanding of the meaning of the speech. Usually what we say speech, we are speaking. That's called the speech, right?
Yeah.
Then the essence of the speech is the represents of the essence of the speech is our breathing, is the represents of the subtle level of the speech. All the speech is actually come from the energy of the breathing, actually. Breathing moves. So that's why the speech, that's the reason for my limit understanding and meditation. When we have an opportunity or somebody could do like at least every day practice like a silence, like a 1 hour or half hour, just a silence, just be silent, just relax. Then it makes kind of, it helps to our bodies to become a very calm and relaxed. Then also helps, it's also the mind, which is we call the really busy mind, that slow down the energy of the speech. The speech itself, it's also creates lots of wonderful energy, which we never ever thought about, we never heard about it, we never experienced it. When we are silent meditation, you can see things much more clear. Body energy, you will see the clear energy of the mind, the emotions, you can experience clear the energy of the sound, of the external sound or internal sound too. There's a lot of external sound, the internal sound, then you can hear it much more clear, So that has the one of the speech, the silence is very powerful actually, really powerful. Somehow silence, the energy of the silence, it's related with highly connected with the energy of the body, the energy of the emotions, the thoughts that are going on. It's very strong connected with that. So therefore, sometimes the sudden practitioner and beginner meditators are a little challenged for that, because we have tendencies always kind of making noise. We are living in a noise. Without the noise, we can't stand it. We want to hear it. We just want to do it's kind of challenges. When we, as a practitioner, we get used to that one, you can hear very well. And also, it's interesting is your own voice, you can hear very, very well. And others' voice, much more easy to hear and understand it better. So that's what I myself also, as a teacher, the most important part, I have to be listening. That's important rather than talking. So I'm trying to that's my practice. That's
Wonderful.
yeah. So therefore, it's a wonderful. Somebody could do every day 10, 15 minutes, kind of just a silent meditation, short, not too long. Not too long at one time, too long silence. Personally, it's okay, but it's not really healthy. No healthy. It has to be built gradually, longer, 15 minutes to 1 hour, then 1 hour to the 2 hour, 2 hour to the maybe, 3 hours, then 10 hours, then 8 hours, then 1 day, or then second day, something like that, then months, possible.
Amazing. That's very helpful. Thank you. Thank you very much. Great.
We have time for about one more question if anybody has one. And while we're waiting to see if anybody has one final question, I would like to let everyone know that I am putting the donation link in the chat. So if you feel moved to provide financial dana, it's greatly appreciated. It supports our programs here at NDF. But also the highest dana is always your practice. So just being here is all the support we truly need. And I'm not seeing any other questions.
Yeah.
So should we move on to dedication, Lama?
Yes, please. Yeah. So please, now we'll do dedication prayers. I thank you again, everyone here, or the Amandas organizing so much, everyone.
Thank
So
you.
please let's do the dedication prayers. Amanda, can you lead a dedication prayer, please?
I'm not good with the Tibetan, so I will do the English.
Oh, English fine.
May the pure, brilliant sun of bodhicitta dawn in each and every heart and mind, dispelling the darkness of suffering and confusion, unstoppably until all are fully illumined and awakened.
Chanjo Senjo Rinpoche Maje Bana Je Jeba Nyamba Mepaya Kone Konda Pewara Well, thank you so much again, everyone. Take care. I'll see you again soon.